Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to me directly for pricing. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing details. Today, we're discussing a refinement of the long-running Jaeger-LeCoultre alarm watch. Launched in 2020, as you see it here, this is the Master Control Memovox from Jaeger-LeCoultre. The first Memovox wrist alarm launched as reference 3150 in 1950, and since that time, as much as any other model, even the Reverso, the wrist alarms, the Memovox series, have been an icon of the company known as the watchmaker's watchmaker and la grande maison. This is a very important reference to the company. It's also a very versatile watch, stainless steel and 40 millimeters in diameter. It's only 12.6 millimeters thick, and from lug tip to lug tip, 47.7 millimeters with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We'll zoom out a little bit, throw it on my wrist. My wrist is 16 centimeters in circumference. I could recommend this watch for a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference. It's not really close to the edge of my wrist. The shot from the top sort of lies. The one to look at is this down the barrel, where you can see I have quite a bit of clearance on each side to adapt this watch to a smaller wrist if necessary. It's also nice and flat, only 12.6 millimeters thick with a sloped case flank. It'll fit underneath the dress cuff if you do want to wear it as a dress watch. I'd call this an all-arounder. It's neither a dress watch nor a hardcore sports watch. It's sportier than dressy, and it's dressier than sports. Getting a little bit closer, we'll take a look at the strap. The strap here is a well-chosen piece. You can see that it's a light brown calfskin. It has a sheer-cut side showing the layers of leather, a monotone stitch on the bottom. You can see conventional calfskin. And then this is a brand new JLC factory strap made by its OEM supplier, Camille Fournet. There is no gouging, there is no crimping. Condition is excellent. And we have little pull-tab spring bars so you can quickly and easily remove the strap from the case without tools. But JLC gives you more, so check this out. We have a double deployant clasp, which is a nice thing to have because not every JLC has a deployant clasp these days. It gives you extra protection against dropping the watch while you are donning or removing it at bedside. But you may wonder, what good is a quick release strap system if it's stuck on the buckle? Well, you push right here and the buckle removes from the strap without tools. So you can remove the buckle from the strap, you can remove the strap from the case, you can swap straps or just clean these components very easily. They can be separated and reassembled with no tools required. Rolling back to the case, it's a simple and refined design. Previous Memovox models since 2000 have been a little bit large, chunky, sometimes lacking in grace. Well, this design borrows some cues from the Master Ultra Thin series, a case that's slimmer, lugs that are finer and taper to a point, a nice judicious blend between satin and polish to mask the size of the watch, and it's done well. You can see there's a little bit of an expanding bevel on the edge of the lug. The bezel is stepped in very slightly from the case band to reduce the perceived size of the watch, and then the bezel has a vertical segment and a shallow conical profile that abuts the sapphire. We have two Jaeger-LeCoultre branded crowns. They have different functions. We'll talk about that in a moment. And the dial is simple. We have tri-Arabic numerals, 12, 9, and 6. A date replaces the numeral at 3 o'clock. We have applied, polished, rhodium-plated dart-style indices, and beautifully graceful half-satinated Dauphine hands at center. You can see one half of each hand has been satinated, and then the other half has been black polished, and that's there to maximize the contrast against the dial. We have plenty of luminescence. You can see the little index that designates the current alarm setting. We're going to take a look at all of this in the dark right now. And you can see not only is it possible to read the watch in the dark, but it's possible to reference the alarm time and even set the alarm time. My autofocus isn't participating, but your eyes will see it without trouble. Now, speaking of the look of this watch, JLC's guiding star, if you will, their compass for the design of this watch, was the look of the 50s and the 60s. And while several different Memovox references are incorporated, the one that most closely resembles the watch in my hand is probably the 1960s reference E11005. If you take a look at that vintage reference, it is almost the spitting image of the watch in my hand. So if you want to know where this design comes from, more than any other model, it's that 1960s reference. The watch, of course, has many technical upgrades compared to its 60s counterpart, including a quick set function. So I have the ability to set the alarm using the crown up at 2 o'clock, but then if I turn it the other direction, I have the ability to set the date. And for a long time, really up until 2008, there was no quick set system for the Memovox calibers with dates, so this was a big breakthrough. Now you can set the alarm in roughly 15-minute increments as the dial is calibrated, but I've owned a lot of JLC watches, including Memovox models, and in my experience, you can set it to within about 5 minutes of the intended time if you practice with it and grow familiar. Now, the watch, of course, also allows you to wind the alarm using the crown up at 2 o'clock. That's its other purpose. It's quite easy if you just want to demonstrate the alarm. You start to draw that little setting index, and in case you're wondering exactly what I'm talking about, the alarm is now set for exactly 7 o'clock. So that's what you're looking at. Start to turn it slowly past the hour hand, and just wait for the hour hand to jump slightly. When fully wound, it'll sound for about 20 seconds, and in case you're wondering, it is absolutely loud enough to wake you up for a red-eye flight, and for me, that is the acid test of any wrist alarm. It has to be able to wake me up, not just startle me before a meeting. So you have that functionality here. You also have a crown down at 4 o'clock that allows you to set the time and also activate the hacking seconds function. And we have a lovely blued counterweighted Lancet-style seconds hand. Now turn it over, and you can see this is still a rarity. Traditionally, Memovox watches did not include display casebacks. There was one manual wind watch in the 90s, and that was the first one since 1950 that was built with a display caseback. Well, here now we have automatic winding and a display caseback. You're looking at caliber 956, which bowed back in 2008 on the tribute to Polaris. 956 is an in-house automatic winding caliber. Some of the refinements include unidirectional winding on ceramic rotor bearings for maximum efficiency. Unidirectional is more efficient than bidirectional. Ceramic bearings more than steel bearings. They energize a 45-hour power reserve. The balance beats weight 8 beats per second, and it is free sprung. So all the adjustments are made using variable inertia bolts on the balance, which is a very precise way of regulating a watch and also allows the watch to be more shock tolerant. The watch, of course, has the quick set, it has the hacking seconds, and it has the alarm functionality. We also have a 50-meter water resistance. You can see 5 bar on the reverse side. That's still uncommon on dress-style watches. Those tend to be 20 to 30 meters. Now, another feature we have that isn't perhaps a mechanical feature so much as a refinement is this Master 1000 Hours Control. Since 1992, JLC has expanded the number of its watches that go through a 1000-hour control, and since 2004, every model, including reversos, excepting only the micro movements like caliber 101, they all go through the 1000 hours control. So for 1000 hours, JLC tests winding efficiency, power reserve, shock resistance, chronometry, and water resistance. This 24 joule movement has been through all of that, and all of this is done as a fully cased-up watch, so the standards of the test exceed those of the Swiss COSC. The finishing is a judicious blend of mechanical and hand finish, and on a watch within this price point, more of the finish is going to be mechanical, but make no mistake, every JLC movement includes at least some hand finishing. My favorite features are the solarization of the reduction wheel adjacent to the winding system, the fired blued screws, and they are fired blue, not chemically dyed, and then the satination on the bridges adjacent to the winding bridge at center. So there's a lot to enjoy here. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.